The safety is off. There's a round in the chamber. This is Armed Alabama. Sponsored by McCoy Outdoor Company, Mobile's hometown full-line outdoor sporting products and gear store. An interactive talk show discussing self-defense, product reviews, shooting tips, safety, and more. Your calls, comments, and texts welcome at 343-0106. Now, here are your hosts, retired judge and certified NRA instructor Rusty Johnston and certified NRA law enforcement instructor Adam Strange.
They're gonna pry these guns right out of my hands when they come to take them away. I believe in the rights that my fathers gave me when they signed the Constitution that day. No misguided president or crooked politician with a greasy pocket to be spared. When the hard-working man gets tired of your cry, it's gonna rain wrath, beware. Don't tread on me, I'm American free. You're not gonna take it away. I stand up and fight for my freedoms and rights. That's a price you'll have to pay. Don't tread on me, I'm American free. Red-blooded to the core. You ain't ever had a fight in your life like the fight that you're itching for.
All right, welcome to Armed Alabama, the 2-hour show where we talk about self-defense, firearm and ammo selection, home protection, concealed carry, training, range etiquette, and much, much more, including Alabama law, Mississippi law, and Florida law. Glad you could join us tonight. We've got a big show. It's been a crazy week since we last joined you. So we have a lot to talk about. And if you've got a lot to talk about, be sure and give us a call. 251-343-0106. We'll be glad to hear from you. You can also text to that same number. You can text us your comment or question, and that's 251-343-0106. Also, be sure and join us on our Facebook page. You can join in and watch us on Facebook Live and join in the conversation. There's always a good conversation on our Facebook when we're broadcasting. And our Facebook page is Armed Alabama Radio, FM Talk 106.5. So be sure to go on there, like, save, and follow. And that way you'll be notified when we post new things on our Facebook page. Also, you can go and check us out on Twitter, Armed Alabama 106.5, and our YouTube channel, Armed Alabama. Be sure to go there to like and subscribe. The judge posts a lot of good videos and stuff, different content on our YouTube channel, so be sure and check that out. And also, our website is armedalabama.com, so all things Armed Alabama, be sure and go to our website. And you can listen to us there. We simulcast on our website as well as our Facebook page. And you can go and you can click on live feed from 106.5 FM Talk. And also you can go there and you can listen to all of our previous shows. All of our previous shows are loaded on our website. And you can listen to them back to back to back, one after another, going all the way back to more than a year now, Judge.
Unlike George Norrie, these are free.
Yeah.
And we don't ask you whether you're east of the Rockies or west of the Rockies.
So anyway, like I said, we got a big show for you. By all means, give us a call, 251-343-0106. And we have some, we've done some classes in the past. We haven't done as many as we want, some self-defense classes, but we will try to do some here in the near future before it gets really too hot.
Seems like we've been too busy with a radio show.
Yeah, I know
I'm afraid.
But if you're interested in our classes, our self-defense classes coming up, be sure to email me, Adam at armedalabama.com, and we'll be able to get you hooked up and get you signed up for our next class. It's a good program that the judge and I have put together. It's a very comprehensive program to where it is a structured building block type syllabus, and you really get a lot out of it. Be able to defend yourself with your firearm, whether it be inside your home or outside your home. And, of course, the judge will teach you what your rights are inside a home and outside a home, and what the law is, whether it's Alabama, Mississippi, of course, or Florida. We have students that attend from all 3 states in the past. And, of course, also your rights as far as federal law goes and the U.S. Constitution and Bill of Rights. So it's a good program. I encourage you, if you're interested in it, by all means, give me an email. Give me a shout on email, and that's adam@armedalabama.com. Or you can email the judge at thejudge@armedalabama.com. So without our sponsors, we would not be able to be on the air tonight, and I want to give those a shout out, and that's David Parnell at Palmer's Toyota, Dr. Justin Foster's at Foster's Chiropractic of Tillman's Corner, David Grayson at Grayson Air Condition, McCoy Outdoors, Ace Hardware at Spring Hill, Moffett and Creola locations, and we have a new advertiser, and that is Mike Ward's Liberty Safes, and of course the law office of Matt Green. If you would like to advertise your business on Armed Alabama, be sure and contact us on the radio station. You can contact me again at adam@armedalabama.com or the judge at armedalabama.com. And we have a caller already on the line tonight. So we have Jim's calling from Mobile. Hey, Jim, glad you could join us tonight.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. I'm a little upset, though, because I've been following your shows. They're wonderful. But the last show last Monday ended up with 2 callers. And the first caller said that the Coast Guard had provided a section there where you could buy weapons. And then the next caller said that first caller was full of baloney, no such thing. And I think the judge went along with the fact
I got the answer, though. Nationwide, they did make a change, and if you are active duty or retired and have base privileges, and the base has opted to have FFL and sell them, yeah, you can.
Yes, because definitely the first of this month, I went to the Coast Guard base in Tanner Williams, and I was with my granddaughter, who was a major in my losing my mind on it. She's a major in the Air Division. And anyway,
well, congratulations.
I bought my
That's
first
great.
gun, and I bought a nice Smith & Wesson gun there for their selection. But yes, you can go into the Coast Guard base in Tanner Williams, and they have a beautiful selection of long guns and pistols.
Now, one of the articles I was reading, everybody compares prices, and this article, it seemed to be the prices, depending on what gun it was, seemed to be roughly the same as everybody else. What did you think?
I believe the same, because I've been to many places there looking at the guns over the years, and no, they were very, it's compatible with most places, really. Yeah.
Boy, that's really interesting. But, thanks. But I did look that up right after the show, because and that was done under Obama, strangely enough.
Right.
Probably a money-making deal, But, thanks for the info that they're doing here locally, too.
Oh, the thing is, too, my granddaughter who's with me, she's a major in the 82nd Airborne Division. So Wellington Hackett, I do believe.
Boy, that's great.
Yes,
that's great.
indeed. And God bless you all, and keep up the good work.
Appreciate it.
All right, thank you, Jim, and enjoy shooting your new pistol.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't mean to interrupt you, Judge, but just to kind of tag on to what you were saying about something where the law had changed under Obama, and another law they had changed was being able to carry your firearm if allowed within a national park. So if the national park is in a state that allows concealed carry and open carry, you can do that in a national park.
Right.
However, be sure and check the law for that state of whatever national park that you're going to, because that's what determines what you can do within the national park. But that law did change under Obama.
Yeah, and I think that was a regulation, but I think it was kind of public pressure that did that.
Absolutely.
I wanted to just remind everybody our topic tonight is leftist violence in the streets, and how to protect yourself from it. Because there's a disturbing case out of Portland, if you followed it, a reporter who's course, it doesn't matter whether you're independent reporter or not. You're a reporter, and I'll do it quickly. A big mob of people was after him, literally threatening him. He pulls his gun. He doesn't wave it at him. Get back. He was arrested. He pled guilty to 50 felonies. And the only reason, no, I'm sorry, he was tried and convicted of 50 felonies. He faces life in the penitentiary. This happened in the last month. The demonstration was in January. But I'll get those videos up, but it is really outrageous. Got to run into a break. We'll be back in about 3 minutes with more of Armed Alabama.
All right, Fred, hang with us on the phone here. All right, welcome back to Armed Alabama, and we've got Fred on the line.
Well,
go ahead,
let
Fred.
Me make my announcement.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But we're going to make your day, Fred, and some other people's day. Everybody that calls in and talks to us, including Fred, you will receive 10 nice quality silhouette targets, and these have a human, look like a human, and you will receive those, and you will also receive the code to be involved in our Thursday night private Google Hangouts conversation or chat at 7 o'clock. Now, if you're out of Mobile County, if you're in Milton, Florida, or even Baldwin County or Clark County, we'll mail those targets to you. So when we talk to you, don't hang up. I'll give you back to Phil, and he'll get your mailing address. But in any event, anybody that calls, be prepared if you want them. But if you buy them at a shooting range, they're usually, 75 cents, Adam?
Or more.
Yeah, so you get 10 of them. Be prepared. Give us an email so we can send you your code for Thursday night, this day after tomorrow. 7 o'clock, and what that is it's like this show, but it's just for about, it could take a couple of hundred, but it's growing. At one time we had 30-something people, and you can text in questions to me or Adam, both of us, and we'll answer them, and we'll have a conversation. But let's go ahead and talk to Fred, who is calling us from Sims.
Outstanding. Thank you, Judge and Adam, and I appreciate the freebie.
Yep.
I'll enjoy that. Judge and Adam, I wanted to share with y'all my hero of the week. I used to be stationed when I was in the Navy there in Covington, Georgia, which is a stone's throw to Eatonton, Georgia. The reason I mention these little dog poo towns way up there in rural Georgia is because we had a couple of Georgia prison guards were on a bus. They're escorting 33 prisoners in their cages back there on a bus, and somehow the prisoners got loose, killed both of those Georgia prison guards, took their guns, their Glocks, and escaped by hijacking a car, and they disappeared, broke into a house in Madison, Georgia, which is probably about 40 miles away from where they killed the officers, and changed clothes and ransacked the house, and then they went to a quarry and stole a F-250 pickup truck and made their escape on up about 250 miles away on another little town in Tennessee called Shelbyville.
Yeah.
And or Christina, and there that they had a bolo out. Be on the lookout for dangerous beyond description, is the way the sheriff described them.
Goodness.
And the police were a high-speed chase, but they lost them after they wrecked that truck. And the two prisoners went into the woods. Well, they exited the woods, but there was something in their way called an armed homeowner that was informed. And they interviewed this young man, who's my hero of the week, married with 2 kids out there in rural Tennessee. He said he loaded up every gun in his house. He was very concerned about this. And lo and behold, he saw them coming out of the woods, and he was able to hold them both at gunpoint. And he called his neighbor, who's also armed, thank goodness, to help him. And the two of them helped both of those prisoners down on the sidewalk on the concrete, until the deputies got there. He said deputies took them about 5 minutes to get there. So they're my heroes of the week for apprehending these 2 guys.
Mine too.
I hope they get the reward of $130,000.
Wow, I do too. Now, let me ask you, Freddie, you were able to drive into the radio station?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I won a couple of Jimmy Buffett tickets from Sean on the show, and I went down there. And,
Was that the one about 12 years ago?
No. This was about a little bit over a month ago. It was a
Okay,
Jimmy
I was going to say the
concert.
one I went to. I felt like I was getting high on marijuana. So,
Well, no, I don't do none of that stuff, Judge. But there's one more thing I'd like to share. And I'll
All right.
let you off and say again, thanks for the targets.
sure. Now give us till tomorrow afternoon. I got to get them over here. So
I'm not in a hurry. I take my wife to cardiac rehab at Spring Hill. And I'm just
Yeah.
get the jump over there.
sure.
But I retired from the Navy, and I go to the Coast Guard base really often. And I love that place because I can buy my guns, ammo, and beer all at the same place.
That's right.
So
Got the bases covered.
Yeah.
so I enjoy it, and I enjoy your show. Y'all keep up the good work, and thank you for the invitation for Thursday and for the targets.
Thank you. And hold on just a second. Make sure Phil's got some info for you. All right.
And God bless you both.
Thank
Yes,
you.
sir.
Thank you, Fred. Appreciate
care.
that. Appreciate the compliment. Appreciate you listening.
I was just showing Adam something I just posted on the Armed Alabama page, and that is Armed Alabama Radio FM Talk 106.5. And it originally was called the Anti-Ku Klux Klan Act. It was passed in 1866. It's still in force and effect. It's been used, in the last decade, but it is designed for in order to suppress terrorists. And basically what it says, it's 18 U.S. Code 241. If two or more persons conspire to injure, oppress, threaten, or intimidate any person in the exercise or enjoyment of any right or privilege secured by the U.S. Constitution, or if two or more persons go in disguise on the highways or roadways, and they suppress someone's free speech, freedom of religion, etc., they're guilty of a felony and they can be in prison for up to 10 years. What do all these people have in common, the Antifa and all this? They dress like the PLO. And they ought to be prosecuted for that by the federal government instead of being arrested for disorderly conduct, because they're causing a lot of damage and they're scaring a lot of people. Ann Coulter could not exercise her right to free speech at Berkeley because they about tore down the place. Just really ridiculous. Adam, also, I've reworked the Patreon reward system and made it fairly simple. If you give $5 a month or more, you, of course, it makes your heart glow, but you're invited to our every other week or twice a month chat. That's always on Thursday night at 7 o'clock. And you pretty soon, we're opening it up right now to give people kind of the taste of it. In about 6 weeks, it'll be just for those folks. Then if you give $10 or more a month, you get that, the invitation, plus you get a $30 off to one of our classes. And see this shirt that I have on, this good-looking shirt. One of our cameras can pick it up. Yep, there we go. You get one of these Armed Alabama, we used to call them polo shirts, but I guess that's a brand now. So you get Armed Alabama shirt. And then the satisfaction of knowing you're helping the show. You go to www.patreon.com/Armed Alabama, and you can read all about it. I don't have the I don't have the T-shirt in there yet, but it'll be in for the night's over. My computer lost its power for about 14 hours or so, but I'm up and running again. But we've got a lot of things going on, but one of the things I want to mention is what do you do if you are, and I can get that in, if you're in your car and you are attacked or you get in one of these mobs and the mob surrounds all the cars in your line. Well, this isn't Portland, Oregon, fortunately, and you're in a lot better shape than you would be in Portland, Oregon. You can do a number of things. You can just stay there and hope that you're not injured. And you probably won't be. Or you can try to escape the car. If you're, young and you're relatively good shape and you can run pretty good, try to run for it. If you're armed, you can, get out and perhaps if you feel like your life is in danger, you can draw your weapon and hopefully maybe the mob will back off. Of course, that's exactly what the reporter did, and he's guilty on all counts. But once again, that's Portland, Oregon. That's not Mobile, Alabama. You can use your car as a deadly weapon. If you've got a group of people smashing your windows and shaking your car, in my opinion, you would feel like your life's in imminent danger, and you could gun the car. There's ways of driving where you're not sandwiched in. It's a zigzag formation. You never want to get so close to another car where you're trapped. And that's good driving technique anyway, because you couldn't stop. And when we come back, we'll give you more tips like this, because that type of driving can save your life. But we'll go ahead and step into a break. Remember, call us, and you get your 10 silhouette targets, probably close to a $10 retail price, plus you get an invitation to Thursday night's chat on Armed Alabama. We'll be right back. Welcome to Armed Alabama. This is Judge Rusty Johnston. We've been discussing mob violence, especially since the shooting of the congressional, some of the congressional leadership. And anybody that calls in is a bonus and talks. You get 10 silhouette targets, and these are the good ones. They look like humans. And plus, you get invited. You get the link to our Thursday night private chat 2 nights from tonight. Now, if you're out of the county and it's not easy to stop by the studio here, we'll mail you those targets. But we need to ask you, just don't hang up after we talk. Let Phil get some information from you. I was talking about cars. There are a lot of techniques you can use to avoid being trapped in your car, and one of them is the so-called motorcade or zigzag driving. And once again, if you're out driving, it's kind of impossible. This is like describing how to tie a shoe, but when you're driving and kind of know you're coming to a halt, don't pull up straight behind the car in front of you. Get offset with the car in front of you about by a third, and don't get right up to him. Leave 8 or 10 feet, which that means is you can probably whip out and get out of that line of traffic if you're forced to do so. Don't wedge yourself in. If you wedge yourself in, you're trapped. If some kind of disturbance happens, and you may not even be the target of it, but 500 people come running from the police, and you're in the way, you and your children don't want to be caught in something like that. So there's some safe driving techniques that you really ought to think about, and I'll put the tips up on either the Facebook page or the website because I'm having trouble finding them right now. But those are the ones that kind of pertain. But before you can use deadly force, your life has to be threatened or in danger. But there's some other things you can do less than that. If, for instance, you're a shotgun person. Now, this is going to be classified as deadly force, but if you have a judge, that's the pistol that yours truly, Adam here, hit a clay pigeon with. Amazing picture. But you can put birdshot in that, number 8. And that's probably, unless you're at point blank range, you're not going to kill anybody. But if you've got a mob of people, number 8 birdshot, whether it be in a .410 or a 12 gauge, that's what the police used to use for dispersing crowds. Same thing with rubber buckshot. It's a lot to carry in your car, but, it's an option. As is the large size, which I'll get in a minute to show everybody, the large size pepper spray. There's also the pepper gas that containers of that you could throw out. There's a lot of ways, but you got to think ahead. It's like most things. Be prepared, as the Boy Scouts would say.
Yeah, absolutely. Judge, you had mentioned earlier when you was talking about that, you was talking about the shooter that came in and last Wednesday morning and shot into a group of Republican congressmen and lawmakers. And one of those was Representative Mo Brooks, who, interesting enough, stated he was going to draft legislation to allow congressmen and senators to be able to carry their firearms and basically exercise their Second Amendment rights within Washington, D.C. But that's probably a good step in the right direction, but it falls gravely short, I think. What about the average citizens? Would it be nice for the citizens of D.C. to be able to, conceal carry as well? I think they're worthy of the same ability to be able to do that.
Well, it would be. And, 10 years ago, they couldn't even have a working firearm in their home.
Yeah.
I mean, Congress controls the District of Columbia. They could abolish the form of government and run it by an appointed person. And they ought to crack the whip on that place.
And they should, but I think if you're going to have a knee-jerk reaction to do that, why not? Why just stop with the lawmakers? They're no better to me than the regular citizens. The Second Amendment should apply equally, not to different levels of society.
When people would say, y'all are in here with the metal detectors on, and I said, and frankly, y'all are in more danger out walking the streets because we have a parking lot we're safe, and y'all are out there unprotected. No, I agree with you completely. Mo Brooks is on the Right Wing Watch, which is a Southern Poverty Law Center group, I understand. He is on their, worst people, I guess, or the most extremist, and he is certainly not, he's right under Mitt Romney, and I consider Mitt Romney a liberal Republican, not a right-winger.
Yeah.
So that is, they do this to make money, but the crazies, will go to something like this and make up, a hit list, for instance.
Well, the hit list was actually a hit list in the shooter's pocket.
Right.
That list included Mo Brooks and others. In that list, you said,
that's
Judge,
what I'm going through and seeing if the rest are on there.
So we received a tip earlier via text, and we're just kind of verifying that on the list, if indeed
I see
was.
Pat Buchanan's on there. You think if that guy had been a Pat Buchanan supporter and had shot 6 liberal Democrats, we'd ever hear the end of it?
No.
Never.
No.
I'm looking to see if Scalise is on here, too. Well, they've got a couple of hundred people on here. They have a state list too, and Matt Canovy's friend and legislator, I don't want to mention his name, he made it, and I called him up to congratulate him. And I said, do you know that you've made the Right Wing Watch hate list or whatever it was? That's a badge of honor.
Hey, Judge, as much as a lot of people dislike the Southern Poverty Law Center, what is the actual connection from the physical list that this guy had in his pocket, this nutcase had in his pocket, proving that it came from the Southern Poverty Law Center? Because you and I can go on the internet right now.
Let me stop you there.
All of the Republican.
We don't know this guy was a nutcase. I haven't seen one file or anything else like that saying that he was crazy or whatever. But I haven't seen any.
We make a mistake to say that.
He became crazy the moment he pulled the trigger.
Well, we
crazy
say that,
or indoctrinated.
And remember the guy who dyed his hair all like the Joker? He may have been the theater shooter. I think.
In Aurora. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He was not found not guilty by reason of mental disease or defect, or not guilty by insanity. He was never. He was convicted, and so there are very few of we say because they're left-wing Democrats, they're crazy, or because they do crazy things, they're crazy.
Well,
very few of them are really crazy.
The point I was trying to make is that was there some kind of proof in that list in his pocket that it actually came from the Southern Poverty Law Center or one of its pro or con groups?
That's what I'm kind of looking for.
Or did they just go to the congressional website and list the Southern Republican legislators?
Yeah, well, that's what we're checking right now.
You know,
Well,
I was
this
unaware
group
of the
picks
list.
out
As
most
much as I dislike
conservative congressmen, and that's what I'm kind of looking for.
well, are there groups that list how conservative and how liberal everybody
Yep.
is?
Well, I was unaware of the Southern Poverty Law Center list until just a little while ago.
I'm no fan of them.
But I'm
believe
trying to
me.
verify it. I'm not
Yeah.
sure, so I'm trying to verify it. While we're trying to verify that, let's go to the phones. We have Mark
Huntsville, all right.
from Huntsville. Hey, Mark.
Hey, Adam. How are you doing?
All right, sir. How are you?
I'm doing well. I texted you a question, but when I heard I could get some free stuff by calling in, I decided to call
Absolutely.
in instead.
Of course, you have to come to Mobile to get
Now,
it.
make sure you don't hang up. We get your address, all right?
All right.
Okay.
All right. So I'm calling about the court case that was just decided in Minnesota, where the police officer shot a man.
Geronimo Yenzid. Yeah. That was the Castile case. Is that the one he was just acquitted on?
Well, I think we lost Mark.
Mark?
Hey, Mark.
Call us back.
Yeah,
but
give us a call back.
I think he's calling about the Castile case. Remember, that was where the girlfriend was filming on Facebook Live as the man was bleeding to death, that crazy case.
Right.
And the press doesn't publicize these because jury found him not guilty. And the dead man was named Castile, and the police officer, because it kind of stands out, was named Geronimo Y-A-N, I think Z-E-Z, Yanzis, actually a Hispanic name. But he was found not guilty, as was Officer Betty Shelby in Tulsa. She shot and killed this man named Terrence Crutcher in Tulsa, Oklahoma, who had stopped his car in the middle of the highway, left it running. People were calling the police saying, this car's running. She got to it, didn't know about the calls. He jumps out of the woods and says, the car's going to blow up. Well, then he wouldn't follow any commands. Another officer joined her. The second she pulled her trigger, the other officer pulled his taser, which kind of tells you something. She was indicted within 1 week. Well, not indicted, charged. They didn't have to go through a grand jury. Within 1 week, which kind of tells you how much investigation they did. She was found not guilty about a month ago.
All right, now we got Mark back with us.
All right.
Hey, Mark.
Don't know what happened. Probably my side.
Mark, was that the one we were talking about, the Castile case with the woman Facebook Live, the guy dying anyway?
The Castile case, the way I understand it, is he was a concealed carry licensed to concealed carry, was pulled over because the policeman suspected him of a burglary, I believe.
Armed robbery, right.
Armed robbery. And from what I can tell, he followed the right procedures. He told the officer that he was a concealed carry, and then was shot as he reached in the glove compartment.
Well,
and
that's not quite
it.
it.
To get your opinion on that case, because there seem to be a lot of crazies that are upset about it.
He actually didn't follow the right procedure. First of all, I never saw any evidence he actually held a concealed carry permit. They kept saying that. I never saw a copy. But all that aside, he kept reaching into his pants pocket And the officer said, "Don't reach in your pants pocket." And he kept going for his pants pocket. And, keep your hands on the steering wheel, keep them up. Don't reach into the pants pocket. And that was the real problem. And, of course, the other problem was, the woman in the car was crazy. That's the one who filmed it and put live on Facebook Live. Now, there are a lot of things we'd put on Facebook Live, but not that. But that was kind of part of the problem. Plus, the description in the car did match a vehicle and a person that had been involved in an armed robbery earlier. Well, actually, a couple of days before that. But the big problem was going for something in his pants. That was a problem. But jury acquitted him. So, you just don't, even, I don't care what you got, don't go for anything quickly when a policeman. I've been stopped before when I've had a lot of black guns in my car, and I've said, I put my hands on the wheel or up and said, "Officer, don't shoot me now. You're going to see a lot of black guns in the back when you approach my car," because, I would be suspicious of me if I didn't know I wasn't a criminal. So, but, that one was tragic. But some of them aren't tragic. Some of them are amazing because the idiots will drive off and start fighting with the police officer or whatever. But we're about to hit a break. Stay on the line. Let me give you to Phil, all right?
All right.
All right, hold on. Phil?
Thank you, Mark. Appreciate you calling. Appreciate you listening from Huntsville, Alabama. All right, welcome back to Armed Alabama. We still have plenty of show left. Got a lot of content that I hadn't even began to get to yet.
Adam, I'm going to post the Right Wing Watch address on our Facebook page so people can see. Don't send them any money because they're just another, I'm almost certain they're another arm of the Southern Poverty Law Center, just like Hate Watch is. But,
what's the name of it again?
rightwingwatch.org. And I'm posting the people to get you to the... No, it's a project of People for the American Way.
Oh, there's another stellar
group. Which they're a bunch of awful people. And I'm pretty sure there's one of these street gangs that's affiliated with the People for American Way. But I guess that's the American way. We got Roy out in Saraland, God's country. Hey, Roy.
Hello, sir. How are you today?
Fine. How about you?
Oh, pretty good. I was listening just a minute ago about Geronimo officer.
And how much news did you ever see of that? And talking about the trial and all, other than I'm sure you keep up with stuff like that, and you had to look for it. But it's just stuff happens, and then it's just forgotten about.
They just covered the riots.
Well, the video of the dash cam, the officer's dash cam, came up on my news feed on Facebook today.
There you go.
The officer stopped him. He stopped him for tail light, brake lights. He said, "You only have one brake light. The one up top's not working, and one on the driver's side is not working. The one on the passenger side is the only one working." And the guy said something. I couldn't understand what he said at that point. But then the officer said, "Let me see your license and registration." And then the guy says, the guy told him, he said, "I have a weapon. I have a concealed carry." He said, "Just don't pull it." He said, "Let me see your license and registration." And then the officer says, "Don't pull it out, don't pull it out," and started shooting him. Now, that's what the video showed me.
And I believe you. The problem is that probably happened in about a second and a half. And,
right. It was quick. The officer was scared.
Yeah. And
I'm a firm backer in the police.
Yeah.
I'm not. I don't think he meant to kill the man. I don't think he had what it takes inside to be a police officer.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you think he was in fear for his life when he pulled that trigger?
I think he was in fear for his life, but I don't think there was a reason for it. I mean, I conceal carry.
Yeah.
I have a pistol and a shoulder holster on my left side. If the officer stops me, says, "Let me see your license, registration," my wallet's in my left pocket. I'm going to have to reach my left side to get it. But I handle it differently.
By the way, that's bad for your spine, to be sitting on your wallet.
Right. When an officer stops me, I have both my hands on the top of the steering wheel with my fingers extended. I roll the window down before he gets there. And I tell him, "Sir, I have a concealed carry on my left under my left arm. I have a concealed carry permit. We can handle this two ways. Either I can get my wallet out and show it to you, or I can get out and put my hands on top of the car and you can get my wallet, whichever way you're comfortable." And I've never had a problem.
Yeah. Well, one thing, and I'm not saying he wasn't, you were respectful, not like a lot of young people that say, "F you, why did you stop me?"
That's right.
That's how a lot of that gets started. I'm not saying it did in that case, but that's what happens in a lot of cases.
The guy was very easygoing, it sounded to me. He wasn't upset. He wasn't belligerent to the officer or anything.
Yeah, well, the officer was fired right after the trial, and maybe it was determined before that he wasn't cut out to be a police officer, like you mentioned.
Yes, so I don't think he's made out of bright material to be a police officer.
He probably certainly isn't now, after going through that episode.
And when it was over with, you could hear him breathing, and he was extremely upset, the officer was.
Oh, yeah, all that adrenaline.
You need to look on Facebook and see if you can find that video and watch it.
Oh, yeah, I'll do that. Well, thanks for that information.
I don't know that the officer should have been charged. Well, maybe he should have been charged.
Well, maybe with manslaughter. Maybe he was. I can't remember what the charge was.
All right, Roy, thank you for your phone call.
Roy, don't hang up. I want to make sure Phil got that info from you, all right?
All right, thank you.
All right.
All right, thank you, Roy. Appreciate it. Next caller we have is Danny's calling from Mobile. Hey, Danny, what you got?
I was going to tell your listeners real quick, and basically reference what you were just talking about on the video. I'm a police officer, and the video doesn't show what the guy in the car was reaching for. He's talking about the police officer wants to see his ID. He does tell the officer he has a gun, and then he starts reaching. The officer tells him 3 times not to pull it out.
See, that's what I remember reading.
Now, if the officer's telling the guy not to pull it out, whatever he's got in his pocket or his waistband, whatever the case may be, because we can take this situation and just go.
He needs to stop doing what the officer. He needs to obey what the officer.
Exactly. It's not brain. This is not brain surgery.
Yep.
I don't care if you're in a car. I don't care if you're on the street. If an officer comes up to you for whatever reason, he has reason to be approaching and talking to you, and he asks for your ID. If you have a pistol on your hip and reaching back to get your wallet is going to reveal your pistol, all you got to do is let the officer know. Officer,
right.
I'm a concealed carry. I have a pistol. It's on my hip. And when I reach back for my wallet, you're going to see the gun. I just don't want you to be alarmed.
Right.
What would you like me to do at this point?
Right.
The officer will direct you from there. I had a guy stop, just real quick, I had a guy stopped on a safety checkpoint. Asked him for his driver's license. He gave me that. When I asked him for his registration and insurance, it was in the glove box.
And he probably had a pistol in there.
It's in the glove box. He said, I need to let you know there's a firearm in the glove box. He shows me his pistol permit. I told him, I said, no problem. Just stay where you're at. I'm going to come around, and I'm going to get the pistol from the glove box, and then you can get your registration out.
Yeah.
We did that. He showed me the pistol permit. Everything was fine.
Right. You just, to be startled like that, especially at night, I mean, come on. Do you know about the one at the University of, I guess it's Cincinnati? Got to go to break, but it's awful where the car takes off. And the guy, it's going on right now. I can't think of his name, but I'll keep listening. I'll tell you about it. Hang on and let Phil get some info from you.
Thank you, Danny.
Thank you.
All right, welcome to the second hour of Armed Alabama. If you just now joined us, we appreciate you tuning in. And if you're still with us, we appreciate you hanging with us on the show into the second hour. So we really enjoy this show. It gives us a chance to reach out and talk to each of you, and we thank you for tuning in. Also, if you want to join us even further, you can join us on Facebook. We're broadcasting on Facebook Live, and that is Armed Alabama Radio, FM Talk 106.5. You can go and you can watch as we broadcast
and
live.
Like us. And we have a like from Austria. We have one from Japan. We have one from Italy. So we get out there.
From all over the place, it
seems
like.
So a lot of people, will come and see a post they like, and they'll like the post, but we're right on the border of breaking 2,000 likes, and that's just kind of a milestone. So remember to like the page, and you'll also get notice of when we go broadcasting live. Hey, we have a couple from Poland also. That's kind of neat.
And speaking of liking Armed Alabama, be sure to go to the Nappy Awards. Go to votenappies.com and vote for Armed Alabama as Best Talk Show and Best Sports Show. We keep forgetting to talk about that too much, but we appreciate.
I've got a good post that I'll be putting up that shows you how to do it. You've just got to register with them when you go there, and you need to have an email address. They send you a confirmation to confirm it's really yours, but it's not that hard. And an easy way to do it, if you just want to vote for us, is once you check in, enter the site. On the left, it says Media. Click that, and it'll take you right to the page, and you can vote for us for Best Talk Show and Best Sport Talk Show. And you may as well vote for the station for Best Station, because what is the good of being the best talk show on the station that's not the best?
Yeah, so definitely select 106.5 FM Talk, and when you're there, to select Armed Alabama as your favorite radio show and as your favorite sports show. So, Judge, you was talking about global news, or who was liking this around the globe. As you know, there's was a terrorist attack today. It was in Brussels Central train station, and the suicide bomber actually shouted out Allahu Akbar before triggering his explosive vest and detonating it in the train station. Of course, and and then also others was gunned down and were killed by the soldiers that was there. But I got to reading about this incident and checking it out.
And then I got the capital of the EU.
Yeah, but I got to thinking, it's like, man, there's just been a lot of terror incidents or terror attacks. I'm not going to call them incidents. I'm going to call them what they were or what they are. They are attacks, and that's taking place in Europe. And so I just kind of went back to 2015, and there's actually been 15 major terror attacks in Europe since 2015. Now, that's major. There's already been there's other events, and some of the events were have been kind of grouped together, but that's just crazy. 15 major terror attacks in Europe since 2015.
I'm going to give you one even more shocking, and I will give you in 2016. These are terror attacks in the name of Islam worldwide, and they were a total of 2,478 Islamic terror attacks. This is 2016 in 59 countries, of which 21,237 people were killed and 26,680 were injured. Now, we'll tell you, most were in the Middle East, and it appears that most were either other Muslims, members of the Hindu faith, or Christians or Kurds living in that area. But that is phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. You know, that includes bombings in Iraq and Syria and those type places, which, right. I mean, their lives matter, but it just shows you the inner secular violence with the religion of peace. We got Joe on the line there. Hey, Joe.
Hey, how's it going now? Host of the show.
Hey, pretty good. What's going on?
I'm all right, Judge. Actually, a question there.
Yeah.
Do the police ever do anything wrong?
Do the police ever do anything wrong? Sure, yeah. As a matter of fact, I sentenced a couple of police officers, and I'm trying to think what for. Somebody was stealing something from the evidence room. Yeah, don't ask me names and all because, I have so many. I remember that one. These were criminal cases, and I cannot remember the others. But, listen, I told the chief of police, I said, y'all would look a lot better if before you got confessions from people that you, searches of cars, that you would get a signed consent to search, and that you would tape record every confession or videotape it, because I think jurors are a little suspicious when they don't see a videotape or an audio tape of a confession, and when they don't see a signed consent to search of someone's car.
I think we're losing.
Joe, you're breaking up a little, but I'll keep talking about that. I may have some notes here. I'll look for them.
I'm coming through now?
Yeah, you're a little better now.
Okay. I got a question on this Michael Brown situation in Mobile, what is all through the police.
More.
That Michael Brown. Now, they say Michael Brown had a weapon and went for his weapon.
Joe, let me ask you, you talking about Michael Moore, who was shot and killed? Michael Brown was up in Missouri.
Well, I'm talking about the local guy in
Okay,
Mobile.
yeah, Moore. Okay.
Yeah, now, they say he had a weapon or a reach for a weapon, but all these police officers surround this body. Now, if the police shoot somebody, the first thing he would do is go retrieve that weapon. Wouldn't you think that would be the first thing that officer would do?
I don't know the procedure.
Okay, I'm just using that, just thinking logically. Okay, he did not retrieve that weapon according to the police. Got all the other police surrounding this body with body cams on, with no video of the body cam. Now they found the weapon at the hospital.
Well, I didn't hear the evidence like the grand jury did. You and I both heard the news reports of it, which is kind of a shame.
What I'm telling you is this: all these other officers with body cam, you can't see no weapon through all these other officers' body cam.
I didn't see any of the body cams.
I mean, police officers have body cam. They say the only reason he didn't have it on because he wasn't on duty yet and hadn't reported to the station. But all these other officers wears body cam. Why didn't they review that and look at their body cam to determine whether or not a weapon was around this gentleman or he had it in his waistband? This man was surrounded by 10 or 15 police officers.
So you're saying he didn't have a we're up against break, but you're saying he didn't have a weapon?
They found the weapon at the hospital.
Okay. Got to go. We're up against a break. Good question, but you know what the grand jury did. But the federal authorities are still looking at it, of course. Looks like Mr. Producer, says we're going to get him all right. We're going to work on a little better chronometer than the sundial he's got right now. Because when it's cloudy, sundials don't work. We'll be right back with more of Armed Alabama. Now, it looks like the National Hurricane Center is already trying to alarm us about a storm in the Gulf.
Whip us into a frenzy,
Judge.
Judge.
Yeah. My dentist told me whenever anything happens like this, you'd be amazed at how many people start canceling appointments, which is a real loss to the economy. But we know this won't be the last storm, and so don't go and wait. If you board up, one room or certain rooms and all, go ahead and get your plywood, your nails, and all that now. And a great place to get them would be the Creola Ace Hardware and Lumber out in Creola on Highway 43. They specialize in a lot of things, water testing, small engine repair, but they have a warehouse that they have plenty of lumber in. And now's the time to get it. It's not when the storm is 36 hours away and everybody has gotten hyperventilated from watching the Weather Channel for 48 hours straight. Go get it now. If you put it in a dry place and don't let it sit in the dirt, put it up on a couple of blocks or something, bricks, concrete blocks, it's not going to rot. but go ahead and you can cut it, make your measurements, and then keep it for when that storm arrives. It'd be a lot less stressful. Then, get your tarp, your plastic. Ace has all of that. Of course, all of the Ace hardware stores has everything you'll need for hurricane season. Why not get it now? Your batteries, your plastic, thick plastic Visqueen, your roofing nails, all of that stuff. You can get all of those supplies at your Ace Hardware in Spring Hill, which is in the Spring Hill Shopping Center, which is at Old Shell and McGregor. Great folks there. In addition, you can get plants, you can get paint, everything there. Or Moffett Road Ace out on Moffett Road. They can test your water, small engine repair, all of that. But especially out in Creola where you can get that lumber. So don't wait till that storm is right on top of you. We need to have a hurricane preparation show because of what happened during the Great New Orleans gun grab. If you didn't hear that, I think it was near the end of August of 2016. We had a whole show about the gun seizures in New Orleans with the author of The Great New Orleans Gun Grab about the illegal gun seizures in New Orleans. Great show to listen to. But get all your hurricane supplies and get them now at the 3 Ace hardware stores that sponsored this show, Spring Hill, Moffett Road, and Creola. They won't do you wrong, and you'll be ready for the storm stress-free.
All right, Judge, we got a caller on the line. Adam's calling from Wiggins, Mississippi. Hey, Adam, glad you could join us.
Hey, Adam. Hey, Judge.
Hey. What's up?
Well, I was just wondering if y'all were as relieved as I am that the guy in Virginia just used an SKS and not an AR.
I was, and I was wondering, I suspect it was a communist Chinese SKS and not a...
Well, and thank the Lord he wasn't near the Rambo he thought he was.
Yeah, well, see, typical left-winger. He didn't know how to shoot. So... Yeah, I was. I'm glad you mentioned that. I was relieved that that's what it was. I'm surprised they didn't call it a black gun or something like that.
Well, right off the bat, it was called an M4.
Really?
That was the reports. That was reports I had heard.
I've written news articles about it online, and that was the first thing it pointed out. It was an AR platform rifle.
Good grief.
Yeah. And I was like, well, there's no way it could be an M4 because that's a military firearm.
Built 20 years before the M16.
The media continues to try to demonize the AR platform.
I wonder what experience that guy had in shooting. Did you read anything about that?
I did not. The article in question that I read, it did say he had a history of domestic violence. But that most of those charges had been dismissed because one of them was against his own daughter.
Oh, wow. Well,
he had drug her out of the neighbor's house by the hair of her head.
Yeah. See, typical.
Yeah. But, them liberals, they're a special group.
Well, and I'm just amazed I'm amazed. I'm not amazed, really. How many of our people bought into the, hugging them, while at the same time they're still preaching this hatred.
Yeah.
Almost simultaneously. I don't know if y'all saw Tucker Carlson last night. He just looked like a complete nut. The one that tweeted Hunt, Republican congressman, and he had him on last night, and I don't know that he would really pass a psychiatric evaluation.
Well, that's another thing that just completely blows my mind is these Democrats are calling for riots in the streets. They're calling for violence against Republicans, openly calling for it.
Yeah.
And then when it happens, it's like, oh, my goodness, this is just the most horrible thing ever.
And then they say, well, Trump caused all this.
And they want to impeach Trump.
Yeah.
I mean,
look at all these terrorist attacks you were talking about earlier in Europe. The only thing saving us is the border.
That's right.
So, God bless the Border Patrol, that's for sure.
Absolutely. And as I always said, had we enforced the laws on 9/11, those attacks wouldn't have even happened because everybody was here illegally.
Hey, I'll tell you who I want to thank is the person or persons who conducted the training for the Capitol police officers that returned fire and killed the guy.
Yeah.
While being wounded.
I mean, I assume they were using pistols.
They were on point, no doubt.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. But glad you pointed that out. I'm going to do a little more investigation on the SKS. And hang on so Phil can get your information. Because really, if you can join us for the chat, I'd love to have you.
All right, thank you, Adam. I appreciate you calling. Be sure and let Phil get your information. But, Adam made a good point about the ratcheting up of rhetoric, that we've heard since the election. And you and I, Judge, we talked, and both of us agreed that this was a natural progression
it was
of
almost
the volume.
Simultaneously, we had the same idea.
Yep, absolutely. Same thoughts about it.
I used to hand out a book occasionally to some victim that would say they felt so guilty because they hadn't been able to forgive someone who had, chopped them half to pieces, and they felt so guilty about it. And I have a book called How Can I Forgive You? And it goes into a philosophy that if no one has ever asked for forgiveness, continues their evil ways, done nothing to deserve forgiveness, you don't need to forgive them. And a lot of people just really eat themselves up with guilt trying to forgive people who don't deserve forgiveness. And that's kind of like no Democrat ever offered any. They said, "Oh, we're sorry that he was shot," but none of them ever said maybe we got a little out of hand with some of our rhetoric, or maybe some of these street gangs that are associated with our party got a little out of hand. None of them ever did that.
Oh, and what I loved is that they all called for we need to tone this rhetoric down.
Yeah,
within hours. The Democrats were back at it, and so was the liberal media.
Right.
And the venomous poison just continues to be poured out.
It sure does. And I don't know, it's just amazing to me. But our side kind of buys it, and it's just like when you're dealing with terrorists, they will lie, cheat, steal. Their only rule is to win. And I'm not saying we should never perform violence, but frankly, I think the girl that jumped up on the stage and yelled at the people in the assassination play, which is outrageous, and stopped it momentarily, I think she ought to get a reward.
And what has that got to do with the Shakespeare Theater? Nothing.
It's stealing our money. It gets taxpayer money. It gets corporate money. It's outrageous. And I'm glad she did that. They've given them a little taste of their own medicine.
Yep.
And I'm surprised they didn't kill her. But those kind of things kind of bring attention to it, and I think that's good.
Yeah, well, when you have media personalities that are getting up and holding severed, bloody heads of the president, I mean, what other outcome do you think is going to happen?
Yeah, exactly.
Or make nasty sexual content comments about our president.
I think the goal is, and I tell you, it's scary the position he's in. They want him out of there. And, one of the groups is By Any Means Necessary. That's their name. And y'all look at the statute that I posted on the slide on Armed Alabama Radio, FM Talk 106.5 Facebook page. See if it applies or not. And they ought to be gone after, and there ought to be RICO suits filed against them, and find out where the money's coming from, because a lot of it's coming from George Soros.
And, Judge, you being part of the judiciary, I'm sorry, Adam, I just wanted to make one little point. You will be happy to know that Eric Holder is considering making a run for president.
Oh, wow. We need to contact him and tell him, don't bother coming here.
That's right.
I don't know. I think it'd be good to have him on the air. You think he'd join us on Armed Alabama?
Could we hold him in contempt of the show?
Oh, he is.
For not showing up?
Terrible. He is so terrible.
Or bringing documents?
Judge, you were calling out earlier to some of the people that was on that Republican list.
Yeah.
And one of them was Mitt Romney, which, of course, you identified him as a liberal Republican.
Right. Anybody can get elected governor of Massachusetts. It's got to be a liberal Republican.
Yeah, well, my question is, there's a text that came in from a listener. about John McCain. Is John McCain on that list? It'd be interesting.
Well, we will see.
He's on Soros' list, and one of his foundations that John McCain has, is, of course, is supported by George Soros.
Well, he needs to be on some kind of list because he seemed to be kind of disconnected from reality the other day in those hearings. I don't know whether
there's a group of legislators that need to go on to the retirement home,
or drugs, or what. But he wasn't with it. I'll tell you.
We got a break.
Let's see. Well, let's take our break, and this list is not. Half of the pages had to donate to him, so you're only looking. We'll be right back with more of Armed Alabama after the break.
We try to stay politically correct now and then.
Yeah.
Well, this is a family show. So.
It is. That's right. I know the demographics. I've looked.
Maybe we can just change it to SOB at the end instead of the actual word.
Yeah.
Huh?
Oh, yeah.
I don't think so.
All right, welcome back to Armed Alabama. We still got 30 minutes left of the show, and we hadn't even really scratched the surface on all the things that we had brought in to talk about. I usually make a list and
check it twice.
Yeah, and usually don't get to 20% of it. But hey, we always got backup material or what have you.
Better to have too much than not enough.
Yeah, and earlier we had a caller talk about bring up the AR. And I'm actually in the hunt for a new AR platform. I'd like to have me a 9mm. And definitely, if you're on the hunt for an AR, McCoy Outdoors is definitely the place to go. Now's actually the time. If you've been putting off an AR purchase, now's the time to do it because they are cheaper now than they have been in a long time. Isn't that right, Judge?
They are. This is a buying opportunity.
I just can't believe how cheap they've gotten. So be sure and go into McCoy Outdoors and check out the different firearms that they have. They have lots of different firearms, and I've bought numerous ones there for my family and myself. But they also have tennis shoes. They have clothing, any kind of garment, outdoor garment that you can want or need, and gear as well. So definitely be sure and check out McCoy Outdoors, and they are off of I-65 on Spring Hill Avenue. And what do you call it, Judge? The old K&B Shopping Center?
That's exactly right.
What is the name of the shopping center?
It is the Spring Hill.
I'll put you on the spot.
Yeah, shouldn't do that. But
I'm just trying to get a positive location there.
When you do, get your 4 or 5 magazines.
And they're not clips.
Yeah, not clips.
They're not clips. They're magazines.
Because, first of all, you never know when a firearm you bought will be discontinued. You can have a hard time finding the magazines, or at least more than you get with the gun. Because, first of all, you may have an end-of-the-world situation and need them. But second, more practically, you're going to keep, if you're like me, you keep it forever, and you just need those spares. I'm not saying you got to buy it when you buy the gun, but over the next few months, every once in a while, pick up one. But before you buy it, that's one of the things you ought to research. If it's down between 2 or 3 guns, check out the magazine cost. If one gun A has a magazine that costs, $54 and one is $39, think about it. And be very careful with ProMag magazines. I have one of the few in the world that works, and it's because I kind of cleaned it up and got it going. It's full of grease. Other than that, I've never had one that's worked. I've never even talked to anybody that's worked. But maybe I know strange people.
Judge,
that's ProMag, not Magpul, ProMag.
What's comforting to me about going to McCoy's is if you're going to buy a firearm, go someplace where they actually know what they're talking about,
right,
and will answer your questions and will give you an opportunity to handle a variety of firearms and help guide you toward making a choice that you can live with and
Yeah, it's a choice, but I don't know if it's
a
choice,
no
an educated
to
choice.
Buy anything, which is another thing. Interesting text. Did you see that one? May I share it?
Well, I don't share the name.
Oh, well, okay. But the young lady who went on stage at a mock assassination is a childhood friend of our texter, and she lives in Pensacola.
Good for her. She's associated with Rebel Media.
Said you should have her on should have her on the show.
Yeah,
that might be a good idea.
Boy, she was full of adrenaline afterwards.
Yeah, I don't know if her name is widely shared or not.
Yeah,
her name
and
was Ashley, but I'm not going to give her
place.
full.
Yeah,
I'm not going to give her
to
full name. So maybe we can reach out to her and see if she'd like to come on.
I
the
have
show.
actually got the film because she took a film and her friend with her did, and like I say, she was. For instance, several of the police officers said, "Good for you, but you probably ought to get out of here." And she was just like so wound up, you know, that she just. But like I say, she didn't cause a problem, and she was just dishing out a little bit of what they've been dishing out.
It's a good thing it wasn't on a college campus. She might have got expelled.
Well, oh yeah, I know.
And failed all her classes.
Have y'all been following the Evergreen College out in Oregon, where they were having the Black Appreciation Day or whatever, where all the black students used to leave for a retreat for one day. Okay, that I can go with that. But this year they decided all the white students needed to vacate the campus, which is 90% of the school. And this biology professor said, "We're working on something. We're not leaving." They about killed him. And the school has not been functioning since then. It has been shut down. And I'll say most of the people that have been doing it have been, white left-wingers. It's crazy. Evergreen College or Evergreen Community, and that's not community, Evergreen State College, I think it is. Just check that out. You can find it very quickly.
What happened? Did the San Andreas fault kick in and the West Coast has sort of drifted away from
there's
America?
There's a theory. The more ADD you are, the further west you kept moving.
But I mean, it really seems like we have a disconnect for a lot of people.
It could be it. The most extreme cases are out there.
Don't know.
Speaking of liberal Democrats, this is what happens when you have them in charge of a state, and that state is Illinois. They are grappling with a full-fledged financial meltdown, the whole state. And I think what's so funny about this is they have a lottery. And of course, that was not the placebo that they thought it was going to be, and now they don't even have the money to pay the lottery winners.
Yeah. Now, what is different between, say, Illinois and Texas, which is probably
Illinois
in the top...
never had pistol permits. That's why they don't have any money.
Texas has billions of extra dollars.
Well, because conservative leadership in Texas,
they cut taxes and reduce spending. And,
Illinois has been running businesses off.
Yeah.
And, of course, just criminal, it's a kleptocracy. That
you can't keep giving all the money away and expect to stay.
Yeah, they had to stop the lottery, or portions of the lottery, the Powerball and the Mega Millions. They stopped the sales of those lottery tickets because the state does not have the money to be able to pay out any new winnings or the previous winnings they've had. There were several people that took them to court, took the state of Illinois to court, and the judge ordered the state to pay those lottery winnings because the state refused to pay them.
I bet the people who run the state were all getting paid. So
you know it.
That it's been corrupt it's been corrupt ever since Lincoln was involved.
Yeah, well, the state
government
is talking bankruptcy. Of course, it's against state law for bankruptcy, so they have no idea what they're going to do.
Are you saying people pay attention to laws? I mean, if it were, nobody would be on heroin.
Yeah. Why can't these states like Alabama, and sometimes it's hard for us, but you have a state constitution that mandates a balanced budget, even if you have to make serious cuts in programs that you need.
You have to have something like that, or you wind up like Illinois or California, which both of them have debt in the billions of dollars between California and Illinois.
$80 billion or $100 billion in debt?
Yeah, well, exactly. So at what point in time will those states be able to, the United States, go in and have to bail those states out financially?
And aren't you
on the taxpayers' back?
Yeah. Aren't you happy that the folks in Puerto Rico voted for statehood?
Yeah, I kind of am going to veto that one.
Well, I don't think it's going to happen. But I think this is the first time that
they're in kind of financial crisis as well.
They are. They're bankrupt.
So they're looking for the government handout as well. on the backs of taxpayers.
Well, politicians want to give away all of your tax money. I was in San Juan and riding in a taxi, and this cab driver was very proudly showing us these modern new apartment buildings. Now, they look like rows of boxes, but these were free apartments for anybody over 65. You got a free apartment.
Good grief.
Well, somebody had to pay for that, and I told him, I said, look, if you guys ever vote for statehood, vote no, because you got it better down here than we do.
Well, that was always the story. They were better off in the situation they were in than statehood. I mean, what would you gain by that?
Yeah, well, free is not free.
Well, but politicians keep thinking if we give away a lot of stuff, people will love us and keep voting us in. And it's like throwing rocks in a sinking boat. You know, you go deeper and deeper in the hole.
No question about that. You know, it's just amazing. Maxine Waters, she has
there's
impeached 45. I mean,
and why didn't some media say on what grounds?
Everybody needs to read the obstruction of justice statutes. There's not one that applies to this. The first one applies to killing a juror. I mean, that's the type of thing that we're talking about, and the special counsel needs to be shut down. It was a fraud that set it up. It was set up because Comey leaked information deliberately to have a special counsel appointed.
At least he admitted leaking.
Yeah, and it needs to be shut down. And so for some reason we're going to spend tens of millions of dollars to go through some routine. I don't know why.
And he's hiring all these attorneys who donated to the Clinton campaign.
Yeah. Instead of investigating the Clinton campaign foundation, which is just that is a 2-hour show in and of itself.
Yeah, speaking of the Clintons, I also read today that she is about to have her security clearance revoked.
Well, good. I was thinking
Hillary, that is.
Yeah. You know, Sandy Berger steals the files in the National Archives, puts them in his pants. Nothing happens because of that. I mean, it's just
Eric Holder refused to turn over documents to Congress.
It's amazing
when they had a right to examine the documents in an oversight capacity.
Amazing what some people can get away with. And I don't mind being lenient and somebody serve the public, but let's have it apply to everybody.
Let's be fair and objective straight across the board.
Yeah.
So speaking of 45,
a few more minutes now to get your targets and that link to the chat Thursday night. Give us a call.
All right, we'll be back after this break.
All right, I know you've got some more gun news, so jump in there, Adam.
Well, this is not really gun related, but it was Trump related. We was talking about Trump before we went to the break, and I was just going to bring up to the point that the stock market has set 7 all-time records in June.
Probably because people think he's going to be impeached.
And, you hadn't heard anything from the media about how the stock market has just jumped.
No, and you're not going to.
And I think industry and businesses are spending money. They're making investments. They're hiring people. People are getting hired, of course.
You don't ever hear that on the news.
And then they're turning around and spending money and saving, putting in their 401ks.
Well, that's the bad thing. Even if you dislike the man or you were neutral, the country needs stability for the economy to grow. It doesn't need all this turmoil. And what we got is turmoil right now.
Yeah, I said the Dow has risen 17% since the election on November the 8th.
See, that should be breaking news.
Yeah.
But instead it's breaking news. We always got to have the word Russian in the headline.
And that is just, what's her name that left Fox?
Megyn
Kelly even edited the Putin interview to make it appear that he said something. The worst thing is they did it to that gun group out of Virginia, but she even did it to Putin. So, I mean,
it just goes on and on.
Yeah.
It said the Dow took just 66 days to climb from 19,000 to 21,000, the fastest 2,000-point run ever in the history of the Dow.
Good grief.
Did you see Trump at Little Havana last
No,
week?
But I congratulate him on
He
changing
made
the
such
procedure.
an excellent speech to Cuban Americans, and what he's saying is that it's all right to open up these relations, and it would probably be beneficial, but we're not going to do it in such a way to keep supporting the Castro regime and its oppressive treatment of its people.
That's how we brought the Soviets down economically, and we probably just about had these people on their knees when Obama reversed his course and almost pays them, to do it.
Well, now, there's some advocates of let's promote trade with Cuba. Jimmy Lyons is a good example, and the people in agriculture in Alabama.
It's generally people that, and I don't mean
Are
this in the
involved-
wrong way, personally you're going to benefit by it.
Well, and they're involved in trade already.
Right, exactly.
But when you got political, he said, we're not going to do anything. Free all the political
Release
prisoners.
your political prisoners.
And then maybe we'll
How
talk.
many people have they done to, like this young man had happened to him in North Korea? Plenty. I figured out one time that Castro had killed more people, political prisoners, than the Ku Klux Klan had ever killed.
Oh, absolutely.
And,
There's no comparison, Judge.
It's just, and he's 90 miles away.
So did it get any coverage on the news? No, they were still harping about the Russian investigation.
Trudeau from Canada went down to Castro's funeral like he was, the Pope or something.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a mass murderer.
Should have said goodbye, good riddance.
Well, here's an interesting factoid. The media seemed to love the Soviet Union, or at least sided with them over us when before Russia, took over, before the communists left. When at the height of the Soviet power, which was probably 1980, when Reagan was in office, the Warsaw Pact, which the Soviet Union was supplying most of the money for, they had, 84, Warsaw Pact had 182 divisions against NATO's 115, battle tanks, Warsaw Pact 46,000 battle tanks, NATO 17,000, military personnel, Warsaw Pact 6 million, NATO 4.6 million. It goes on and on and on. Now they are a shell. Russia is a shell of that. And but now the media thinks Russia is the enemy. I mean, and listen, I wouldn't trust them as far as I could throw them, but they're a lot less dangerous than they were in 1984.
Well, we appreciate you listening to Armed Alabama. We're almost to the end of the show, but if it was not for our advertisers, we wouldn't be on the air. So we ask you to patron our advertisers any chance you get, and they're David Parnell at Palmer's Toyota, Dr. Justin Foster at Foster's Chiropractic of Tillman's Corner, David Grayson of Grayson Air Conditioning, McCoy Outdoors, Ace Hardware Stores at Spring Hill, Moffett, and Creola locations, and our new advertiser, Mike Ward's Liberty Safe. We appreciate them coming aboard Armed Alabama and supporting our show.
You're hearing a Father's Day ad. Those specials continue to the end of the month, so don't let that throw you.
So, yes, if you're looking to get a new safe, now's the time to go ahead and do it during these Father's Day specials.
Yeah, and they're good ones, too.
If you would like to advertise your business on Armed Alabama, or if you just want to contribute to the show, you can contact the radio station, or you can contact me. You can email me, or the judge. You can email me, Adam at armedalabama.com, or the judge at armedalabama.com. And then you can also go to our website.
And
Judge,
you
want
can
to
go to
tell
our
them how-
Facebook page, and I put up the link, I think I did, to Patreon. If not, I'm going to do it right this second.
Yeah, you can go to our Facebook page, patreon.com/armedalabama, or you can go to our website as well and contribute.
Do it right now.
So definitely, Judge is putting it on our Facebook page right now. And also, you can check out our Facebook page that we broadcast simultaneously on, and that's Armed Alabama Radio, FM Talk 106.5. And our video, even if you're just catching us at the last part of the show, our video stays on the Facebook page. And you can go there and you can listen to it. So we'll watch it during the week. And the likes and the watches go up from 200 to 250 to 350. So it's interesting how many people go and they watch the video during the week or 2 weeks after each show. And we appreciate you listening and watching. Also, you can go to our YouTube channel, Armed Alabama. We've got lots of videos, lots of content there, and check it out. And let us know what you think. Let us know how you like the show. If there's anything that you think we could have on the show in future episodes, definitely by all means contact us, let us know. And my email again is adam@armedalabama.com. And we still have just a couple minutes left, so if you have a comment or question, give us a call at 251-343-0106, and we'll be glad to put your comment or question on the air and put you on the air as well.
And Adam, we hadn't thanked Buck Allen tonight.
No, we hadn't, and always enjoy listening to his show when it comes on. His song comes on at the beginning of the show, and that's Don't Tread on Me. And he's got some other songs that we want to play. Hopefully we can do that next week, and because lots of good songs there, very patriotic, and we appreciate Buck Allen for allowing us to use his song as our theme song.
Very talented.
And in this last minute that we have, you all have not set up a schedule or a tentative date yet for the next class?
No, we need to do that. But if you're interested in our self-defense class, and we'll teach you how to defend yourself inside the home and outside the home, be sure and email us. You can email me again at adam@armedalabama.com or thejudge@armedalabama.com. We'll put you on our list. We'll let you know when all whenever we schedule a new class, and also we can let you know when the judge does a live feed during the week.
Yeah, and be sure, since my computer was dead all last night, to check your email sometime tomorrow afternoon for the link, tomorrow evening for the link for Thursday night. The email that you've given us. So a lot of people have multiple emails, whatever one you give us. But we'll see you next week on Armed Alabama.